Good evening, everyone. So today our topic of presentation is automation testing using Cypress. So let's first try to understand what is automation testing. Automation testing basically refers to writing a piece of code which would replicate our user action on any website. For example, if we log in entering user ID and password, we would write same in a piece of code and we can rerun the same piece of code numerous times. So this helps us mainly in regression and smoke testing. In regression, we can check the impact a new feature has on our existing functionality. And in smoke test, we can check if the new build which we get is broken or not. Some of the popular automation testing tool in market, apart from Cypress, is Selenium, which can be used with any programming language like Java, C, Ruby, Python, Protractor, APM, Playwright, WebDriver.io. These are the few automation testing tools available in market right now. And Cypress and Selenium are two of the most trending testing tools. We'll see about Cypress more in upcoming slides. Second slide is feature of Cypress. According to official documentation, Cypress enables us to write faster, easier, and more reliable tests. It is done so because Cypress is relatively new to the market, so it has taken care of a lot of drawbacks or the pain points which we had in Selenium. And it comes as an npm module, so we can use javascript. We can only use javascript while coding in Cypress, so some basic knowledge of javascript is required to work with Cypress. And with Cypress command, we can also use jQuery methods as well. We can easily debug our scripts. And one of the best feature of Cypress is automatic wait. People who might have worked with Selenium might be knowing that when we use Selenium, we need to give wait explicitly. And if the element is not present within the wait time, then the script fails. But Cypress has taken care of that. It waits for the whole site to load or the element to be present, and then only it executes the script. In case the element is not present, it keeps on retrying until the element is present or the timeout value which we have given, that is ran out. So we don't have to write any explicit code like we did in Selenium. So that is one of the best feature of Cypress, and it also helps us to get rid of flakiness and unnecessary test cases failure. Cypress provides us easy cross-browser testing, which means the one piece of code which we have written can be executed on Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or any other browser as well. We don't have to write any other code for any different browser. So that is what cross-browser testing is. And when we install Cypress, it comes with built-in chai assertion and built-in Mocha framework. Now, if I talk about Cypress architecture, it is very different from Selenium. In Selenium, there is a JSON wire protocol which is being followed, and then it interacts with the browser. Whereas when Cypress directly interacts with the browser, this provides a better control over the browser. Cypress can control backend as well as front end of the browser. And it also works on the network layer, which helps us to modulate the responses as well. As Cypress is installed locally in the system, we can get screenshot and the video of our test execution. In Selenium, if we want to get screenshot, we need to write explicit code for that. Whereas in Cypress, it comes inbuilt with Cypress. So that is also one of the advantage which Cypress has over the Selenium. Moreover, if I say in a simple line, the Cypress architecture is much better than Selenium, and it gives a better control over the browser, and it has much more capabilities when it comes to screenshot and video recordings. Moving on to next slide, working of Cypress. Now, as we know, Cypress is built using JavaScript, but we know JavaScript is asynchronous in nature. By asynchronous, I mean that once one request is made to the server, without getting the response, it would continue to make another request. Without getting the response of the second request, it would make the third request. So that is asynchronous in nature. So if this is followed in any of the test execution, that means it would try to type something or click on any element without even finding the element, which would lead to the failure of test cases. So they have to make this asynchronous of nature of JavaScript synchronous for Cypress to work properly, right? So they have done that by resolving the asynchronous nature internally. They have implemented .then method in every Cypress command internally. We don't have to explicitly do so. Only if we use jQuery method along with Cypress command, that time we need to do it explicitly. So how Cypress works is it takes all the commands and it queues it to the browser and it executes it serially. And as we know, for any automation testing tool, locators are the backbones of that. By locator, I mean it helps us to identify any HTML element on any web page. So Cypress, there are various type of locators. For example, there are 7 types of locators, but Cypress supports only one type of locator readily, which is CSS selector. And installing a plugin, we can also use XPath. Coming to drawbacks of Cypress, it doesn't support multiple browser tabs. So if we click on any link and it opens in another tab, we have to modify it and open it into the same tab. Then it supports only JavaScript, unlike Selenium, where we can use different programming language. Cypress cannot be used with any other programming language other than JavaScript. Cypress cannot run 2 browsers at the same time when we use test runner, but if using dashboard, we can run 2 browsers or do parallel testing at the same time. Each test is bound to a single origin. That means if I'm testing sjinnovation.com website, I can only navigate to SJ Innovation pages. The domain name should be SJ Innovation. I cannot navigate to google.com in the middle of my test execution. So it should be the same origin website. And it doesn't support Safari mobile application built on iOS or Android. So these are the few drawbacks of Cypress. For test execution for Cypress, there are 2 ways to execute test cases. The first is test runner. Cypress run test in a unique interactive application in which all our spec files are visible. We can run either one of them or we can run all at a time. I mean, we can run all the spec files which will run one after the other. And the second way is dashboard, which is a cloud-based service. We can execute all our test cases in the Cypress dashboard. We'll see about it in upcoming slides. Running Cypress. Once we have installed Cypress, we need to run a command Cypress run or Cypress open. It opens the test runner. Once we installed Cypress properly, it creates this folder structure. So there are 4 main folders which are there. First one is fixture, which is used for storing our test data. So any test data which we have to pass, instead of hard coding that, we can add it in fixture, which contains a JSON file. And the second folder is integration folder, in which we maintain our .js file. The code is written in the integration files, in the JS files, which is under integration folder. The third is plugin, which contains any external plugins. And fourth is support, in which we can write any reusable or generic method under command.js file. So this methods can be reused in integration again. So this is the basic structure and the basic framework which comes inbuilt, and it is recommended to use the same framework. After we execute our test cases, then some other new folders are created, like downloads and videos. And this is the reporting which the report which is generated, Mocha Awesome report. And these last 4 things are created on its own by Cypress. This is the basic structure of Cypress and the main folders on which we work. This is one of the basic script of Cypress which I have written. So describe and it comes from Mocha framework. Describe is like a test suite in which there can be multiple it statement. It can be treated as an individual test case. So here I have written cy.visit, which helps us to load a website onto navigate to a website. And then cy.get helps us to locate any element. So this is the locator which I have given. This is a CSS selector, and dot click is the operation I am performing. Similarly here, this is the search box. It is identifying and it is typing their vitamin C serum. And then in this command, it is clearing the text which is entered previously. Similarly, we can write multiple it blocks in one describe. So this is very easy and very basic Cypress script. Cypress runner, when we run our Cypress open command or Cypress run command and run our spec file, this is the how the UI looks like. This is the time it took for the entire test to execute. These are the number of failed and passed test cases. These are the statements, it test cases which were there. This is the URL. And viewport is one of the best feature of Cypress. They have some inbuilt dimensions which are already present. For example, if I write cy.viewport iPhone 6, so it would automatically execute the test in iPhone 6 dimension. Similarly, Samsung and many other mobile dimension are already there. And if we want to put a customized dimension, we can do that also using a simple viewport command. Here we can see our test execution in real time. Here we can see the assertion which is being put. If the assertion fails, then it would not execute the next test case. Coming to Cypress dashboard, it is a cloud-based service. So we need to integrate our Cypress VS Code with GitHub, and then it takes all our test cases and executes it into Cypress dashboard. For integration, it provides us a unique key which we need to put it in our one of the files which is there in our framework, and then it takes all the test cases from there. This is Cypress dashboard. This is a dummy dashboard, and that is how it looks like. So a basic version of Cypress dashboard is free, but to share it with more number of users, we need to have a premium or paid account. And 300 test cases can be run free on this Cypress dashboard. Here we can see the number of test cases which are passed or failed. Here it is showing 20 test cases as passed, and we can check the status of failed test cases as well. Here we can see the screenshots and the videos of our failed test cases. It would also give us other details and the browser and all other details, very detailed report we get here. And we can also check the report. So this is the report which is generated inbuilt by Cypress dashboard. We don't have to write any code for this report to get generated. But if we want to use Cypress runner, then there is another way to create report, which I'll be showing in upcoming slides. So next is, if we compare Cypress with Selenium, let's see what are the ups and downs of Selenium and Cypress. So the first one is that Cypress only supports JavaScript. A person who wants to work with Cypress needs to know some basics of JavaScript. Whereas when we use Selenium, we can use any programming language like Java, Python, Ruby, etc. Browser supported. When it comes to browser, Cypress doesn't support Safari, whereas Selenium does support Safari. Setup complexity. Cypress is relatively easy to set up. There are just 3-4 commands which has to be put, and Cypress is up and running. Whereas for Selenium, we need to install a lot of dependencies, etc., and the drivers also. So the setup of Selenium is relatively difficult. Framework. Cypress comes with inbuilt Mocha framework, whereas when it comes to Selenium, we need a different framework for different programming language. So all in all, Cypress is relatively easier to use and to work with compared to Selenium. When to choose Cypress? When we need a single framework to do different type of testing, we can use Cypress. or when we need video recording capabilities, these videos can be shared with our customers or internally to see the test execution. And it when we don't have enough time to build a framework from scratch, we can start using Cypress, which comes with an inbuilt framework as well as assertions. And one of the best feature which Cypress has and Selenium doesn't have, it has time travel capability. That means when I perform any action of clicking on some button, it would have before and after screenshot. So I can check in the runner that before how it was and after clicking how it was. It can by that I can make out if it clicked on the right button or not, and why it didn't work, or if my test cases are failing. That is the best way to find why my test cases are failing. So Cypress has a lot of things which Selenium didn't provide and user wanted. So Cypress is very easy to learn compared to Selenium, which uses widely Java, which is comparatively difficult to learn than JavaScript. Advantages. So this is the first I'll talk about the trend of the automation tools. So the green one is testcafe.io, the red one is webdriver.io, and the orange one is Selenium, and blue one is Cypress. So this is the trend of last 5 years. We can see that in last 2 years, Cypress has picked up really well, and it is being used widely nowadays as growing demand of automation in all the testing activities in any industry. We can use Cypress very easily, and it provides us faster execution. And since it has many inbuilt method and inbuilt capabilities, it saves a lot of time to write code, because we don't have to write each and every line of code, because it has a lot of inbuilt things in the function itself, in the method which we use. So, few of the advantages when I talk about automation testing is it saves times in and does faster execution. In manual testing, if I say, then a user QA would execute maybe 5 test cases in 1 hour, but the framework which we are working on, it executes around 102 test cases within 30 minutes. So that is the execution speed I'm talking about. And due to the faster execution, we have productivity improvement because it saves a lot of time. It has more accuracy because it is less prone to human error. And the fourth and best advantage of why automation is required and is used widely nowadays is test suite reusability. The same piece of code can be executed on different browser. So it is basically automation testing is automating the repetitive task. The same code which I have, I can execute it in Chrome, Edge, Firefox, or any browser. Whereas if I do that manually, I have to manually test all those test cases in the 5 browsers, which would be more time consuming and repetitive, and which would lead to human error. Moreover, using the same test suite, I can run it on testing environment and the live environment, or whichever environment I want. Again, if I do it manually on all 4 browsers in 2 environments, you can imagine how much time it would take. But with Cypress, it would hardly take 2 to 3 hours to do that. If I talk about the speed of execution in Cypress, it works as fast as the content is loaded. If your website is very fast, then it would even finish the test case sooner. If your website is taking time to load, the test case execution might be slower. So that is the speed I'm talking about. And then it helps in early bug detection. Nowadays, one of another major reason why automation testing is preferred is because as soon as a new build comes, we can run our smoke test cases, which would help us in early bug detection before a manual tester would uh, test all the test cases one by one. Our test execution is so fast that after every build, we can find a bug, or if the build is broken, we can tell the DevOps team to fix the issue, or the developer team to fix the issue. If a manual tester directly tries to test it, it wastes their time also, and the productivity also goes down. And then it ultimately helps us in fast development and delivery. There's a short demo which I have prepared. So this is the VS Code, and this is my spec file. Here I am giving a command npm run test. So this would open the Cypress runner, which we have discussed. So this is the Cypress runner. These are the spec file. I've clicked on new and now spec file. And this is the test runner, which I had explained earlier. Homepage is the described, and these are the it test cases which I have written. This is the viewport customized size which I have given. Now it would wait for the entire site to load. It would not execute test cases as soon as one element is visible. It would wait for the entire site to load properly, and then only it would start execution. This helps us to get rid of flaky test cases. And once our website is loaded, it went to one of the header which I had given, and it clicked on that. So after clicking, it would again wait for the second page to load. Now in this test case, it is checking for all the elements to have image, title, star rating, price for all 20 products which are there. So it is executing that right now. As you can see here, it is checking for every element to have length 1, which means it is checking for this element, there is one button of wish list and one button of add to bag. Like that, it has checked for all 20 element, and the index starts from 0. So that is why it is showing 19 elements here. Now it will click on quick view and click on add to bag button and change the quantity to 6. Once it clicks on add to bag, there are 6 products added, as you can see. Now, the next test case is verifying the sort functionality. Here from the drop down, I have simply used a for loop, and it is iterating through all the elements of all the options in the for loop, and the site is loaded according to that. I have put an assertion of a particular dynamic text which comes with different for loop options. So once those assertion pass, it goes on to the next option, and it waits for the site to load and checks the URL for that particular word which I have written. So it would run for all the options in the test case, and if any assertion in the middle, if it fails, it would fail the test cases, and we can check why the test case failed, because it gives us a very clear error message. Also, one of the best feature of Cypress, as you can see, if some element is not visible, there is a simple thing which we need to write in our click method itself, force true. So it would click on the invisible or the which are hidden elements also. Very simply, we can click on those. Whereas in Selenium, we don't have this feature. There's a lot of work around which we need to do to click on invisible element, and a lot of waiting and everything we need to give. Now this test case, I have written it so that it fails, so that I can show you that here the problem is that it is having problem to read some data from the JSON file from which I'm passing the test data. So it clearly gives me a message that it cannot read some property. I can go back to my framework, change it, and I can rerun it again. Now in the second, the last test case which I have written, in this, it fails again, and it gives me a very clear message that it expected to find this element, but it never found it. That means my locator is incorrect. I can go to the framework, change the locator, and check again. And another important feature of Cypress is it can check. We can find locators inbuilt in the tool itself. From here, if we click and go on any element, it would provide me a locator or CSS selector for that. Sometimes we need to customize those, but it gives us a fair idea. Or as a beginner, you can get some idea how CSS selectors or how locators work. So this was a short demo. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.